Hello, friends, and welcome to our work together where we discuss some key ideas to what may one day be an esoteric United Nations. Now, Tuya has an idea here to facilitate our work, and she'll talk in just a minute, unless she wants to talk this very minute. What? Now. You want to talk now? Go ahead. What? Oh, can I what I want to do is to have them turn,
That is what I want to
unmute
talk.
themselves.
You
want to do it?
I want to talk about it. Hello, everybody. So now, before we are going to this interesting discussion, and we really warmly support you all to participate, because this is like planting the seeds for the future. We are going to do in the end a kind of imaginative meeting of the General Assembly in the Esoteric United Nations, which means that we sound a mantra together. But before that we sound that, all of you would be unmuted, and we do that in the beginning. And then you mute yourself, and then in the end of our webinar, before the mantra, everyone would say their names and their country. Just that, the names and the country, and then again mute yourself. Then the next one would be unmuting oneself, say their name, and the country, and then mute yourself, so that all participants will be saying their names and their country from where they are coming. And then when you have done that, we move into our room in our location, and our participants who are sitting here with us will introduce themselves the same way, their name and their country, and then we will say together the mantra, closing mantra, and after that, no discussion. We just end into the 1 minute silence, and that would be the closing. Or is it better that we have 1 minute silence before the mantra? Maybe that would be better, that we would be having a 1 minute silence, and then the final last thing would be sounding that mantra together.
Okay, friends, so basically what I'm going to do now is unmute everybody and very quickly go to where the attendees list and self-mute yourself. Okay, it's a little bit involved, but just go there. Here goes. I'm going to release everybody into green. Hopefully it works. And then I will not have to bother name by name making sure that we are controlling you. You'll be the only one to control yourself. Unmute all attendees.
Michael,
Yes?
please explain again that they need to go to the attendee list so they know when it's their turn.
Okay. Well, you just said it. Go to the attendee list, and then we'll start with Dan Parker, and we'll just go down. Basically, we'll make sure that you are self-muted, and for some reason, I've never tried this before, but I'm going to do it the easy way. Okay, Asha, you are self-muted, and that's fine. Anna Marie, self-mute. Beverly, self-mute. Brenda Fisher-Stamp, self-mute. Brennan, you are self-muted. Okay, good. This is the way we'll have to do it. I can't do it all at once. It didn't work. Cassandra is self-muted. Catherine Pryor is self-muted. Chris Tanka, mute yourself. Elena Manaju, self-mute. Dennis Galen, self-mute. Jeffrey Logie, self-mute. Heike Bobart, self-mute. Joan Schofield, you are self-muted. Okay, so go back to the way you were. You were self-muted. Joanna White, I have to be careful here. We better not do anything with you.
Okay.
Joan Schofield, please mute yourself.
Brennan and Britta has to mute themselves.
Who, dear?
Britta and Brennan has to mute themselves.
Okay, it didn't work quite the way we hoped. So, Brennan, mute yourself, and Britta Dare, mute yourself. Okay? I wish I could have done it all at once, but I couldn't do it all at once. Joe He, you are self-muted. Karen Gritsky, you are self-muted. Catherine O'Brien, you are self-muted. Kim Knight, mute yourself. Very good. There should be a way to do this all at once. It just didn't work. Leslie is self-muted. Lorraine is self-muted. Louise Langdo, mute yourself, Louise. Mariut Arnio, mute yourself, Mariut. Maribel Knudsen, mute yourself. And Michael Starcrow, mute yourself. No, you are self-muted. That's good. Myrna de Roons, self-mute yourself. And see, this is all this. I'm sorry about all this. Nicole Claude, you are self-muted, and that's good. Nienke, mute yourself. Pamela, we have to be careful about you. You're okay. And RW, mute yourself, RW. And Reza Modaresi, you are muted. And Thu Bui Thikim, mute yourself, Thu Bui. And Vera, you are self-muted. William Meter, you are no, you've got to mute yourself, William. Winnie Lembeck, please mute yourself. And Zenaidi Moray, mute yourself. Okay, there's still a few people who have not muted themselves. Beverly Kovic, and let's see if there's anybody else.
Mary Bell.
Mary Bell, you have not muted yourself. Thank you. Anybody else? And
Beverly Kovic.
Yeah, I got her. And Nyanka.
Yeah. Ninki. Okay.
Nyanka. She's got the self-mute. Yeah, I know, but we just don't have time now. Just mute yourself And Thu Bui, mute yourself. Otherwise, I'm going to have to mute you, and it's better not. Okay? And Zenaidi, mute yourself. We'll wait for a moment for you to do that. It gets a little involved. Okay, they're not going to do it, so I'm going to do it for them. I can understand Beverly. I'm putting you on mute. The organizer is muting you. And Mary Bell, I'm putting you on mute. And Yankee, I'm putting you on mute. And Subui, I'm putting you on mute. Okay, good. And Zenaidi, on mute. Okay, very good. Thank you for that little bit of housekeeping. Okay, now Tuya, over. I'm going to mute myself. And are you beginning or am I? I am. Okay. Okay, friends. What can I say? Good evening. All right. Now, it's obvious that the energies which produced that great Ray 4 experiment, the United Nations, were interior esoteric energies. It is now an organization. It has done immense good throughout the world, and it needs to be supported at a time when selfish people and nations are refusing to contribute anymore or cutting their contributions. We who are esoterically inclined, not yet full esotericists, but we are something. We are students of esotericism at the very least. We know some techniques of meditation, visualization, and the use of mantrams, and more than that, we know the energies of the 5 planetary centers and the energies of some important, or let's just say, developed countries. There's many other things we don't know. DK maybe will give them to us in his next installment. I just have to make sure you are hearing me, make it maybe a little bit stronger. Okay. And on the basis of these ray energies and astrological energies and a study of the history and present state of the different nations, we may know what to do to offer progressive energies so that these groups, these nations can move forward. That's what this sort of idea of an esoteric United Nations is. To study deeply the planetary centers of the world, to study deeply the cities connected with those planetary centers, to study deeply some highly developed nations. For instance, we're going to take a look at the United States, United Kingdom, and Russia, just briefly tonight, to give you an idea of what I mean. And where we don't know the ray energies of these various nations. Like here in Finland, we know the astrology. We don't for sure know the rays. And there are quite a number, maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 of these nations where DK has given us the astrology, but not the rays. Also, there are other nations that have emerged since he was writing. And there are now 197 nations, and 2 of them are not members of the United Nations. The Vatican group is not, and there's, I'm sorry, it's slipping my mind, but there's one other that is not. Still, we study. And from the history of the founding of these many nations, even when they didn't exist in DK's time, we may be able to tell something about an operative astrology, at least, for them. And we may, by studying what's going on in these nations, we may know something about the rays they are trying to develop. Nations are like people. They are immature, maturing, and mature. And we can study what we know, and given what we know about the rays, and given what we know about astrology, we can send into these nations the kind of visualizations, the kind of mantras, the kind of thought forms based on what they are developing, which will be helpful to them. And we work behind the scenes. And the idea is that every day we, at least this is the present idea, that every day we do a different nation. And that's quite a cycle. Tuya has completed about 100 of the nations, and that's over the last several years. You never really complete because there's always new developments. But she has gathered many images. She has gathered data and statistics about education and health and many signs of development of the nations, and basically enough for us to think together. Now, it doesn't have to be at the same time. Every day for a few minutes to send our blessing and our well-targeted energies progressively into these nations. Tuya, is there anything you want to add to what I'm saying so far? Yes, no? Yes. I'll turn this, okay?
You hear me? Yeah. So just from the destiny of the nations. As this is the Aryan race, the term is not used in the German or materialistic sense. These 5 centers to which reference have been made, these 5 focal points of spiritual energy, are being abnormally and deliberately stimulated and vitalized. The energy which flows from them is profoundly affecting the world and the United Nations. This holds great hope for the future. It is for the reason that New York is one of these 5 centers that the United Nations organization is to work here. And when we talk about these centers, we are talking about the 5-pointed star of humanity. And when this 5-pointed star really functions, it's said that the Darjeeling is a little bit in dormant state still, but when these centers will function, you will see, Michael, you have the leads there. Yeah. Go one step. Either, yes, let us try. further. There, they're there. They are. Here we have the 5 centers. So then the soul energy can really flow into humanity. And the whole idea, Esoteric United Nations, this is the idea, an idea as well, that our humanity would be functioning from the perspective of the soul. So whatever we are imagining at the moment, it is about that we try that every single nation, there are more advanced nations, as Michael was saying, but that every single nation would be functioning from their soul perspective. And that is why we have come together to imagine that.
Okay, so when it comes to this 5-pointed star, we're in the Aryan root race, therefore there are 5 centers. When we enter the grade 6 root race, there will be 6, and if it takes us so long as 7 scheme rounds to complete our development, we will have 7 planetary centers. Right now we have 5 to deal with. New York is a Ray 6 center, and it covers the... What's the matter? Next slide, you have those rays there. Okay, but I just wanted to, let's see here. I just wanted, yeah, okay, let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, New York, it's a Ray 6 center for the Americas. And it's a 2nd ray soul city and a 3rd ray personality city, and it's for the Western Hemisphere. London is very spread out with its Gemini soul, and it's not the British Empire so much anymore, but it is related to those groups where the British in the UK have settled. It's a major Ray 1 center, and it is coming a lot under Vulcan, and the idea of the law is very strong. As a city, it's a Ray 5 soul city and a Ray 7 personality city. Its sign is Gemini, interestingly, which is the same as the entire UK. Then we're talking about developed centers now. One of the most esoterically developed is Geneva. It's the only 2nd ray center, and it is for Europe and the USSR. It's no longer the USSR, it's for Russia and a number of those countries that were associated with the USSR. Its energy is love, wisdom, but as a city, it has a Ray 1 soul and a Ray 2 personality. So its sign is Leo. Obviously, the heart center is powerful. And these are the 3 that are most developed. Tokyo is developing rapidly. Japan has a Ray 4 personality and a Ray 4 soul, Ray 6 personality. Tokyo, exactly the reverse. Ray 6 soul, Ray 4 personality. Its sign is Cancer, and right now it is a Ray 1 center, but the materialistic aspect of the first ray. And finally, Darjeeling, which some of the advanced disciples around are trying to help energize, is another deeply esoteric Ray 1 center. And of course, it's in India, and it's for India and the greater part of Asia. And it, as a city, it has a Ray 2 soul and a Ray 5 personality. And its sign is Scorpio, quite different from India's signs, which are Aries and Capricorn. So these are the 5 which are ruling the general area of the Earth. And we have to, every one of us is under the influence of one of these major planetary centers. The 6th, the 1st, the 2nd rays are the ones which seem to be operative at this sign. Notice New York and Tokyo the same in terms of the sign that covers them. Okay, now, and there are other ways of looking at this, but suffice it to say, these are the big areas. And now we have to realize which one of these groups we are affiliated with. Now, a lot of people here in Europe, it's going to be Geneva. But if you live in Canada, if you live in New Zealand, Australia, no longer India, it's likely to be London, because there's a great reach there, as Gemini has sent the British to many different areas, and they've established their presence there. The most esoteric center is Darjeeling, and it's called Moria's Town, really, one of the names of it. And it has much to do to emerge and to awaken, and that is being undertaken by, as I say, certain advanced disciples. The second most esoteric, and along the secondary line is Geneva. It's very pure second ray energy, and the others have their virtues and their liabilities. Okay, now let's see if I can do a little more of this. Our countries. I just want to give an idea of how we might approach. One of the ways is, for instance, we go into a book like The Destiny of the Nations, and we go to page 50. If we can get there. Okay, this is The Destiny of the Nations, page 50. Here's a table. And in this table, which I will maybe make a little bit smaller, so for viewing purposes, are the major countries. Now, I'm not making a moral judgment here. I'm just saying that these are developed countries and even more developed lately. So let's when we look at view, let's, instead of 150, let's just do 100. Okay, maybe that's too small. Let's try 120. Okay. Oh, that's 200. That wouldn't do. All right. Now, we give you an idea of how we might work, because eventually any person working in the political field, and that's basically what this is going to have to know the energies of the nations. And because we are students of esotericism, we have a special door open to those energies, not to all, but to many. Okay. Now, we look at this, we see that the two great Ray 1 souls are India and China. The Ray 2 souls are the USA and the United Kingdom, I suppose including Northern Ireland now. There's no Ray 3 souls, very interesting, because we have to pass that ray by. It has caused a lot of difficulty and we have to assimilate it. The Ray 4 souls are Austria and Germany and Brazil. It's going to be very important shortly, all that. The Ray 5 souls, France, only one. And their very scientific information about the nature of the higher mental plane and the soul will emerge. Ray 6 souls, Spain and Italy. They both have strong Sagittarius, okay? And Ray 7 souls, only one. I mean, there may be others, but these highly developed nations, Russia. Now, what we would do if we were meditating every day on, let's say, we know that the United States, the United Kingdom, and Russia hold the fate of humanity in their hands. That's what he says. They are great collective experiments, and they hold the fate of humanity. We would send the energy of the soul ray in a visualized form or a pure stream of energy into each of those countries. Ray 2 for the United States, Ray 2 for the United Kingdom, Ray 7 for Russia. And we might recite for the United States, I light the way, and visualize. What does that mean? We might recite for the UK, I serve. We might, and recite for Russia, I link two ways, obviously the East and West. That's sometimes when we're dealing with more than one nation. Sometimes we're just dealing with one nation and we try to strengthen it in every way possible. Now, some of you know this, for some you do not, but let's just take these three countries once again. The soul sign for the United States is Aquarius. Fits very well, very important in the New Age. We imagine what Aquarius will mean to the development of the United States. The soul sign for Russia is Aquarius. Again, they have tremendous commonality with the United States. And take a look at what Russia has. It has not only Aquarius of the age, but the great seventh ray cycle is operating now for 2,500 years, and Russia has the seventh ray soul. How important a nation it will be. And when it comes to the UK, we will think of Gemini, the sign, a soul sign for the UK. We'll put those ideas together. We'll be creative. You'll do it your own way when you want. But every day, a new nation will be taken up in terms of the energies which animates it when we know those energies. And if we don't know the energies, we'll work with the energies we do know. And if we don't know any of them, we may speculate based upon when the constitution of that nation was written and made official. So basically, we're trying to work with The esoteric energies, our meditation, our visualization, and our knowledge of the present state of the nation to advance it esoterically. Am I clear in what I'm saying? Okay, now Tuya, maybe you want to speak here. Hold on. Wait a second. Having a little trouble here. Why don't I know what I'm doing? Does anybody have a... oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Myself on mute.
Okay, first I convince, okay, am I? Okay, I have done it. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me? No? I am talking. Still? I'm talking. Do you hear me? Yes. Okay, I'm heard. First, Michael, I was, there is a person, Nienke, and I, by accidentally, she had her hand raised and I by accidentally clicked that, and so the hand disappeared, but we have to know that Nienke had her hand up. Okay, but before did you understand? Michael, did you understand? There was a Nienke Roterdik Hansen had the hand up, and I yeah, I was, yeah. Yeah, we will come to you, but sorry, I was clicking the hand and the hand disappeared. That's why I wanted to know this. So, just a little, okay? Nothing. Okay. So, again, from the Destiny of the Nations, the case says, for the first time in human history, the lines of demarcation between that which is right from the angle of the spiritual values, the essential freedom of the human spirit, and that which is wrong, the imprisonment of the human spirit by materialistic conditions. And these two things we should be looking when we think about our own country or the countries in general, are clearly perceived by the majority of the nations or the planet. Within the United Nations is the germ and the seed of a great international and meditating, reflective group, a group of thinking and informed men and women in whose hands lies the destiny of humanity. So it is not only these three countries, but it is the whole group of thinking and meditating people in whose hands the destiny of humanity is lying. That's why we have the idea at the moment to start call upon all of those who would be interested or working with us and working the way that we take that on our responsibility to do it every day. This is largely under the control of many fourth-ray disciples. So again, who has this kind of that fourth ray strong in their ray makeup, because of their connection, natural connection with the body, makes all of those people very suitable energetically to this work. If you could but realize it, okay, I'll read the sentence again. This is largely under the control of many fourth-ray disciples. if you could but realize it. And their point of meditative focus is the intuitional or predict plane, the plane upon which all hierarchical activity is today to be found. And of course, when we think about peace and this, the harmony, trying to find the harmony between the warring parties, and the fourth ray is the ray of humanity. That's why the fourth ray is very important. And if you think about the earlier chart, what Michael you had, the fourth ray countries, Germany, Austria, and Brazil. So they are playing very important role for the future humanity as well. Okay, that's that, Michael, now.
And let's just say that DK said, oh, you're not interested in politics. Uh-huh. Well, because you're a second-rate type or whatever you are. He says, but don't you realize it? That under the governments of the world and through the political work, millions and millions of people are conditioned. And so you have to take an interest in these wider collections of people who are drawn to their country for reasons that are very esoteric. It's not just a happenstance that somebody settled there and other people came. There's a magnetic operation at work, and we are in the nation where we belong at this time, and the nation sustains its particular energies. Okay, so basically what is needed, Tuya will provide some programs which have already been made, and there will be other programs which are in the process of being made. And you'll learn quite a bit when you take time to look at the videos of what conditions these countries are in. And then every day for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you can spare, you use your meditative power. See if I can get me back here. Oh yeah, he's over there, isn't he? Okay, yeah, the old man. All right. So anyway, you use your meditative power. And every day, look, I'm always intervening in American politics. I haven't walked in the door of Congress. I'm not in the Senate, at least that I can remember. I'm not in the House of Representatives. And every day I'm there, and I'm using appropriate colors. I'm using appropriate mantra. I'm using appropriate visualization. Did you know, this is a deep esoteric secret, as you can tell, that Abraham Lincoln is so strong that he can pick up Donald Trump with his right hand and Stephen Miller with his left and throw them both about 2,000 miles down to Florida? Well, let's just say in America, our democracy is in danger. And just the way, look what happened with Caesar. We had a republic in Rome, and then a strong Senate, and then a reasonable, we didn't have dictators, emperors, and all that. Then along comes Caesar, he crosses the Rubicon, and the whole thing becomes hereditary for the next 500 or 600 years until Rome just goes down. Well, it'll be a lot faster these days. Master Moria says you would be amazed at how fast a nation can fall just because of the poor decisions of its ruling groups and others. So we, and the UK, look, where will the Christ reappear? I say, and I have no business saying it, but I say the United Nations will be his headquarters. That second-rate town called New York, which will be the capital city of the United States and no longer Washington. In that great second-rate city, there's an attack on, and in Washington too. Why? To keep the Christ back and to delay his arrival. And when you look at the UK, maybe some of you have been in Parliament now for a few months, watching how all of that is carried on. Same thing. Attack a second-rate country if you want to stop the Christ's plans from materializing the way they should. So internally, we people like ourselves have to do something about that, or at least put our energies and our forces at the disposal of the hierarchy. And every day, however you want to do it, you have different meditative techniques. You stand in spiritual being, you see the soul, you do whatever you do. And Julia will probably talk about different methods, not now. Then every day, you join with your brothers and sisters all over the world for an esoteric approach to strengthening the soul quality of the nations. That's what we're inviting you to do. And if you want to do that, you can write Tuya, you can write me, Tuya, Robbins at gmail.com. And you know my crazy email address, infinitives8 at gmail.com. And if we find another address for you to write, then we will. Yes, dear? What? Address. Okay, well, we just have to send out the ask address to everybody as widely as we can. Then you will have one more thing to do. But it won't take forever. Take 5 minutes, and you'll be doing your bit and playing your part. And every day, rotating in the cycle, you'll learn something a little more about your fellow human beings and what their needs are. I'm just amazed sometimes. I didn't know anything. I look at the pictures of these countries, the people, what they wear, what their difficulties are, what their education health level is, what their disease level may be. It's just eye-opening. And it's more so than when we say, oh yeah, I know the Sudan is having trouble. You know what I mean? Or what's going on in Libya? They're really, it's a terrible situation. You see it because the images are there and you awaken to it and you want to help. That's all. And pretty soon a picture of 6, 7, 8 billion people on the planet begins to emerge, all the way from Siberia to the South Pole, whatever. It emerges. And you feel part of it, and like you're really doing something with it. So Tuya, what is the address? Because I will write it down. Hold on. Wait a second. You're faster than I am here. I anticipated a different thing. Okay. Okay. So, oh, there's a good English word. Global Ask Project. At Gmail? Yes. Oh, that's not hard. Oh, jeez. I'm sorry. By this time, I'm brain dead, you know. At someone's trying to help over here, and someone wrote it out. Oh, come on. This is all thumbs. Okay. Okay. You have to take this M away. Yep. Yep. Now you can write that down, can't you? Write that down.
Michael?
Yeah. Yes. BL. Yes.
Okay. I put both of your emails and this Global Ask Project at gmail.com in. I just sent a chat message to the entire audience. I also want to say that we have the Ask page and with the Solar Nations things that you guys have done over the years, that that's on Makara.
Yeah.
And I'll put the address for that as well.
Okay, so everybody go to the chat. BL is offering what we already have up online and how to get there. And you'll have a chance, if you wish, to see some of our programs and what we've said about it over the years, probably already 4 years, I think, since 2015. Yes, Tuya.
I just want to share with all of you what is some kind of coincidence. Our Ask project was established 19th of November 2015. And it then happened to be the day when Alice A. Bailey, the 19th of November, when Alice was hearing the first contact by DK was happening. Was it not so? Yeah. So we were first having our first webinar for the climate change. Then there was a great meeting in Europe, and we were supporting that. So we started with this, but this later, that at least for me, it was a big surprise that it happened to be the same day.
Since first contact with the Tibetan, 100 years. And, okay. Well, look, there's nothing regimented about this. There's nothing like where we're running like a military camp. It's not that. But it is a way of cooperating with your brothers and sisters, and maybe 50, maybe 100, whatever, maybe more, to really send the good energy in an appropriate and intelligent way to developing countries. to the developing countries. So please go to the chat box and copy everything that PL has sent you if you want to participate. That's it? So now we're going to pretend. Oh, okay. I thought it was a technical matter, but let's just say, let's see what it is. No, I was thinking that it disappeared. Yeah, the hand is not there, but you slipped. Nyanke, was there something, I'm sure it was earlier in the process, was there something you wanted to say? Okay. All right, if something comes up, just write it. She's unmuted. No, I unmuted her. But there's nothing there. So just write it down. If under the question mark, if there's something you want to say. Okay? All right. Is there anybody out there in the oh, here we go. We have a few things. Here's thanks. It's Switzerland, isn't it? Okay, thank you, Chris. Switzerland is fiercely independent in certain ways. The signs are Aries and Aquarius. Okay, but everything is fine through Buoy. Very, very happy to have you here. Where do I get a picture of your screen? Britta, I don't even know what I was showing on my screen. You just take a screenshot, Britta, if you're still here, and we'll try to contact you. Switzerland joined in 2002. Okay, good, Chris. Thank you for keeping us abreast of things. Okay, let's see if I'm leaving anything out or anybody out. Just to get clarity, Kim, are you saying we need to email to receive the material? No. Basically, we just need to send to you. You just go on to Makara. The material is there. www. Period. Makara. Period. .us. Makara.us. You don't need to email us anything. You just go on to the, what is it, BL? It's the
Yes, www.makara.us, like you said, and it's on the top line menu, the Ask program.
It's on the top line menu, she's saying. You just go there and
you click on that.
program. What I'm doing is making this available to the people here. We still have a little bit of a computer issue and a sound issue. Okay, good. All right, well, Britta, we'll try to be in touch with you so we know what it is you are looking for.
Michael, she couldn't see your screen, and so she left and came back, and then she got the,
okay,
she could
very
see.
Good. Yeah, okay. Well, tell you what, yeah, let's just say, let me put you on the spot here. William, would you like to, since you are a much traveled and experienced teacher, maybe there's something you would like to say about the general approach. Is there?
Hello, Michael. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, really well. Thank you, William. But wait a second.
Right.
Now what I've got to do, okay, are we hearing through your, 1 second, William. We're hearing through hers. Okay? Yeah. Okay, go ahead, William.
Well, thank you for holding this today. It's such a crucial subject, isn't it? Humanity is really being confronted by antithetical energies that support what that calls the heresy of separateness. And in many ways, I think the solution that we all need to engage with is to realize that within our own consciousness, what are we the United Nations? What I'm trying to say about that is that to the extent that within our own minds and hearts, we inwardly feel the interconnectedness of all types of people under the umbrella of the soul of humanity, to the extent that we can do that individually in our day-to-day lives, to that extent, we are each contributing to the betterment of the United Nations and in support of the soul of humanity. So we are, to me, this is a crucial time in human history, and the assault against the oneness of humanity is, well, I would have to say it's unparalleled in my lifetime anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I do firmly believe that the Black Lodge is putting everything it can into accenting separateness and has a strong investment in the past. And countermeasures, many of which you are talking about, are absolutely essential if we as one humanity can move into this next regime of life, which is really about humanity truly finding ways of truly living as one, not just in terms of attitude, but in outward practical living. So to the extent that we can all both support the United Nations in the external sense, as well as recognizing that it exists internally, and our state of consciousness and our relationship to that internal unity of humanity, it's a unity realized through diversity. To that extent, we are inwardly supporting this great transitional time and the United Nations. So thank you again for offering this webinar on this subject. It's so pivotal at this time.
Thank you, William. I must say, I probably wouldn't have done a thing if Tuya hadn't pushed me over the cliff. But anyway, well, you know, she has certain intuitions about what has to be done. So thank you, William. This is William Meter, you know, and he travels many places and teaches the Tibetan in a very creditable way. Yeah, Tuya, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, William, because me too. I really think that what we see now in the world happening, that, and of course, we reason that the further we go, the end of the Forerunner, there must be something happening on that line of the counterforce. What I have been looking in these three countries, which are the most or the key players for the destiny of the nations and humanity, I don't know, but could it again, the cosmic evil, be involved? When you think about how the leader then in Germany, when again cosmic evil was affecting on Earth, Hitler, I just saw one documentary where these children who were called Hitler's children, and they were interviewing those older people now, and something what struck in my ear was that many of them, they were wondering themselves, and they were describing like this, that I don't know what was coming over me, that there was like some kind of force which was coming over me. And when one thinks about how Hitler was expressing himself, that how it was possible that millions of people were under that energy, we can say like a spell. And this shows us that there was this kind of thing like cosmic evil affecting. When we think about these leaders of the three main countries, if we may call them so, and thinking about Great Britain, Alex Ratcliffe has been many times describing what's going on there, that how people are, that they are not thinking. And that has been making me to think, is there again, from so high level, an attack? This is a question. And we just read a few days ago how DK is saying that the evolvement in spiritual sense in humanity goes rather well, if not these powers of old, how he was describing those, what is that, Michael, the word when we have parties, those who are more liberal parties, and then what is the conservative? Yes. So he pointed out that if those old conservative powers will not take over, and when we think about this, what is happening is like this conservative part in the human consciousness, or the consciousness in these countries, has been getting more and more power. So he was warning about that. And so nobody of us can be answering to this, but there are those signs which makes a really cold thing going along your backbone, that could it be so that this kind of attack is from so high level, like cosmic evil. But I am agreeing with William that there is many signs that the Black Lodge is functioning.
Yes, hold on. Ario.
Can I speak now? Can you hear me?
Well, I can kind of hear you.
Okay. Related to that, what Tuija just told, then few days ago, Russia announced that they have managed to make their own internet connection, which is separate from the World Wide Web. They tested it and they said that these people didn't recognize it at all.
Yeah. Okay. Separate. Look, and that, of course, the great heresy of separateness is exactly what we're working against. Look, DK warned this. The last ditch fight of materialism. They will fight to the last ditch. And that's what we have to look forward to, not only up to 2025, but during this 21st century. Yes, Elena, just speak up loud. Yes?
DK said that there was a big mistake to allow Russia into the United States. Oh, yes.
And other totalitarian groups, China, etc. Yeah, he said.
When the United Nations was created, at that time.
But let's say there are many good people in Russia. It has millions, and it's a nation that is going to be pivotal in the emergence of the New World religion. And experiments in education will go on there, and it has much to offer. The present leadership reverts back to some old czar, you know what I mean, some individual who is thinking about the Leo glory of Russia and not its Aquarian nature. Okay, we'll just have to, and look, now it just came out today or yesterday, we have the greatest hypersonic weaponry system of any in the world, said Russia, way beyond the speed of sound, the greatest system to deliver almost before you can realize it, atomic weapons anywhere in the world. Hypersonic. Okay, well, we won't stand here and be worried about it. We'll just continue to work. Okay, now, I'm sorry, Nicholas. Nicholas, please go ahead. Or did Nicholas raise his hand? Oh, Tuya is just calling on you. Would you like to say something, Nicholas, or are you present there at the meeting? Well, if you do, just let us know, okay? Is there anybody else here from the external group, meaning not in this room, who would like to offer a comment or a question? We won't be going on too much longer. I promised that we would not have a 2.5-hour session. Okay? Anybody from the group that is attending that would like to say something about this idea of supporting the United Nations esoterically, meditatively, internally, mantrically, however we can support. Anybody want to say that before I ask people here in this room? And maybe, is there a hand? You know what I want to get? Oh, Karen, okay. And then Jeffrey, I'd like to call on you since you have a lot of experience in your thought. So, Karen, you are self-muted and just, there you
Okay,
go.
you can hear me now?
Yes, all good.
Okay. Well, I have been participating in the Ask Project and the Soul of Nations meditation for quite a while now, and I absolutely love it. I think it's very powerful, and I'm so impressed with all of the data and information that Tuya has put together in an incredibly beautiful way. So I would certainly speak to that and encourage other people to participate in that as well. And, and I'm very much interested in this whole talk of an esoteric United Nations, and at some point, I think having perhaps a lengthier discussion of what Tuya means by that, I would appreciate. I mean, other than what we're doing is meditating, and I understand that.
You want to answer that? Yeah.
Hi, Karen. Yes,
Hello.
thank you for your question. One second. Okay. So we will go ahead with this idea. So we are going to have very soon, again, one webinar. The idea is for that to somehow respond to the emergency in humanity, looking what is happening. That those people who would like to participate and take this kind of responsibility together, that every day, so that this really would mean commitment, that every day we would go country by country, all the time invoking the soul to be merging. So this is just the principle how we would be going to do, and maybe some other things, which we will keep it simple, but it has to be effective. It cannot be such another thing, just participating but not doing anything. It really means that then those who want to do so will commit themselves to do at least that. So this is what we are going to do, and we will organize the webinar very soon. Within few weeks you will get invitation, and then we talk more about that. But thank you for this question, Karen.
Yeah, thank you.
This is the sort of the unfoldment of a vision that Tuija has had for quite a while. And she keeps on pushing it another step farther and another step farther. And finally, we're getting to the point of real global responsibility. So we're very happy to welcome whomever would like to participate. It's not going to take a lot from you. It just depends how deeply you want to enter in. Okay? Now, so just let us know by writing to this address and copy what BL has put in the chat box. Okay? Now, I'm sorry. Jeff, yeah, I want to get Jeff. Jeff, do your best with that New Zealand accent.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I do have a cold, I'm sorry, and the combination. But, I felt that our William had spoken so well about the current situation, of course, and yourself and Tuija. And I want to just congratulate you on such a wonderful initiative as this. It's a very effective tool, I think. And although, we are witnessing the effectiveness of the forces of lying propaganda at work in our populations, and feel in some way powerless, this is the nature of the beast we're dealing with, isn't it? And this astral forces of possession, as Tuija had touched on, are particularly active. And but we will overcome, won't we? No if buts or maybes. And I think that this will only strengthen our hands as a group, as a worldwide group. So other than that, Michael, I don't really have anything else to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. You have such experience for so long. Jeffrey has been in theosophy since he was a kid, a teenager, and has persisted with this. And he worked with Jeffrey Hodgson, as you know, is a distinguished seer and psychic in New Zealand. And so Jeffrey has been so steadfast that his opinion is valuable. Now, I just want to ask, thank you. I just want to ask right here in the room, if there's anything that anybody wants to add to our idea here. And look, this idea has been in the air, okay? But let's just say that the particular way of doing it is belongs to Tuya on this. Take the nation, make the video, study the energies, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think it's a very sound way to push ahead. I think so. So is there anybody here in the room, and I know I'm looking at a lot of exhausted people, but if we don't exhaust you, we're not doing our job. You know what I mean? And then, pretty soon, I think I'm going to sleep under this table tonight. It's the only way to get out of this room. Anybody want to say anything here from this room? You say, so Maria, Rosa.
And then if we are going to do this work, the idea was that we should hold on to these centers in order to receive from them the influence to make this work more intense and more to the point. But they did, because they had a visualization another moment in this phase. But it was a very big I to start but reflecting a lot of like having more how to start behind. So it's when we were speaking all these 5 centers, it came the idea that maybe we could reinforce ourselves in some way. This is the
Great, thank you. This is something you can speak with Tuya about in greater detail. Are there any other points that anybody would like to make? It's pretty simple, isn't it? And that in the simplicity, I think, lies the potentiality for success. Okay. Now, let's pretend many of you have muted yourself, and that's good. Some have not, and I'll have to intervene. Pretend you're a member of the Esoteric General Assembly. Just visualize that. General Assembly is a beautiful building or area, and the avatar of synthesis works through it. So let's just imagine that esoterically the avatar is working through that. Okay, so let's start with Anne Parker. What's your? Okay, well then you lead. You want to lead this?
But you can be the one who is checking that everyone can have a voice. So we will now enter into the last step of our process, and let us all visualize. We anchor ourselves, whatever is your local place on earth, that we are very rooted. As well, we are in our consciousness aligned together, that we really feel the strongness, the strength of the group. We remind ourselves about the science of invocation. That is our power, that is our tool in our hands, what we can use. Also, I want to point out, let us remember Christ 2000 years ago. And that is the principle that only one is needed. He was able to anchor the wheel on earth. So may everyone be that one what is needed. When we invoke within, when we name our names and our country, every other participant will also listen that and invoke at the same moment the soul to be immersed in that country. We all sit together because of that. We express our will. We call and spiritually demand the soul to be emerging on physical plane. And via that, the heaven will descend on earth. So then when we have been having this tour that everyone has spoken, we have 1 minute silence, and then we end the webinar into mantra. We may start the process. And I'm asking everybody, even though there would happen some technical problems, so we are not concentrated to any physical phenomenon, we hold our space and we hold our collective invocation. We call upon the soul qualities. We call the soul of the nations. We can start.
So what you do is say your name and your country, and then you have to unmute yourself first, say your name and your country, and then mute yourself again. So, Parker.
Ann Parker, United States.
Thank you. Just mute yourself afterward. Anna Marie Stovgaard. Okay. Ashaker, unmute yourself.
I'm doing a triangle with America, where I live, and UK, where I was born, London, and India, the nationality. So, and I also do a triangle with America, UK, and Russia through the Esoteric Healing Program I've been following with Nicole. So,
Okay,
thank
so,
you.
and what country do you want to hail from?
USA,
USA.
New York, yes.
Thank you. Beverly Kovic. Unmute yourself.
She says, sorry, my microphone doesn't work.
Oh, okay. Did she write anything? What country?
Canada.
Canada. Very good. And just a moment. Brenda Fisher Stamp.
Brenda Fisher Stamp from Melbourne, Australia.
Thank you. And Britta.
Britta, Denmark.
Thank you. Britta Dari from Denmark. Thank you. Visualize your participation. Cassandra Kurtz.
Yes, Cassandra Kurt from America.
Thank you, Cassandra. And Catherine Pyer.
Catherine Pyer, Australia.
Thank you. And Chris Tranka?
Chris Tranka, US, we call on Ray 2.
Thank you. And Elena Monjou?
Elena Menegou from Greece.
Okay, Elena, thank you. And Elizabeth Hill?
Hi, Elizabeth from Huntington Coast, Australia.
What country? Did you hear
Australia.
a country? Australia, thank you, Elizabeth. And GP? GP? Okay. And Jeff Logie?
Yes, Jeffrey Logie, New Zealand, as part of the Commonwealth of Nations of Great Britain.
Thank you. And Heike Bobart?
Heike Bobert from Germany, Ray 4.
Thank you. And Joan Schofield?
Joan Schofield, USA.
What country?
USA.
USA. Thank you, Joan. And looks like I have a Joanna.
Joanna White, USA.
Okay, I didn't get it in the usual way, but it's okay. And Johi Lee?
Juhi Lee from Korea.
Thank you, Johi. And Karen?
Karen Gritzka, USA.
Thank you. And Catherine?
Catherine O'Brien, New Zealand.
Thank you. And Kim?
Kim Knight, originally the UK, now in New Zealand.
New Zealand. Thank you, Kim. And Leslie?
Leslie has written that my microphone isn't working. I live in Brazil, but was born in New England.
And she's in UK? Is there a country?
She's living in Brazil.
Brazil? I'm sorry that I'm so... Yeah, I'll let it pass. Thank you. And Lorraine?
Lorraine Peitel, United States.
Thank you. And Louise?
Louise, Canada.
Louise Langdo, Canada. Thank you.
Yep.
Martha?
Martha, Denmark.
Martha Mickelson. You can say your full name. I'll just say your first name. And Mary Bell? Mary Bell. Yes?
Mary Knutson from the United States of America.
Thank you. And Maureen?
Maureen Richmond, United States.
Thank you. And Michael?
Michael Gaeta, United States of America.
Thank you. And Myrna? I think Myrna may be representing both Brazil and Switzerland, or is that it? Something like that. In Europe and also from Brazil. If you're there, Myrna? No. and Nicholas. And Nicholas Nguyen from Sweden. And Nicole. You're self-muted, Nicole. Okay. Yes.
Marie Nicole Claude from Haiti, living in USA.
What was said? USA. Thank you, Nicole. Nicole Claude. And Nyenka. I believe the Netherlands are involved in some way. Nyenka Roosterdink Hansen. And Pamela.
Pamela Casey, United Kingdom.
Thank you. And Reza. Go ahead.
Reza Modalisi, United States.
United States?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Reza. And Teresa?
She says that her microphone, oh, I'm sorry, she isn't the one with the microphone issue.
Okay, any country?
U.S.
U.S., thank you. And we know Thubai Thikim, Thubui Kim, and your country, Thubui? Okay, it is Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Vietnam. And Vera Vostinar?
Yeah, Vera Vostinar, Czech Republic, living in New Zealand.
Thank you. And Vu Khan. You would have to unmute yourself. Vu Khan.
Yes, dear, I'm from Vietnam.
Vietnam. Thank you, Vu. Thank you. And William Meter?
William Meter, living in the United States.
Thank you, William. And Winnie?
Hello, Winnie Lembeck from Sweden.
Thank you, Winnie. And Zenaidi? Zenaidi? I think, yes, go ahead, Zenaidi.
Zenaide, Switzerland, Geneva.
Okay, she's in Geneva, which is basically Switzerland. And representing, I think, a South American country?
Brazil.
Thank you. And BL?
The U.S.
BL Allison, U.S. For myself, Michael Robbins, U.S. and Finland. Michael Stacy?
U.S.
U.S. Thank you, Michael. Tuya?
Tuya Robbins, Finland.
Okay. Now, let's go around our group. Just speak up. Elena? Okay. I realize there may be a sound problem here, but I'm sorry?
You can unmute me, and then they can speak in this.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. Okay. And
Sweden. Leah, Australia.
Joke, Belgium. Margot, USA.
Theo Strauss, Estonia.
yeah, do you include your last name?
María Rosa Valdevell, España, Spain.
Arjo Heinsola from Finland.
Krist Gustafsson, Finland.
Margot Yoder, USA.
Now let's pause.
Silence.
And thank you. Now we close with the mantram. Is that correct? Here is the mantram of peace. I think we have to be careful about this. So I'm not going to let the voices from out there come through right now, because that will have a huge cacophony. But everybody say this aloud, and Tuya, if you'd be so kind as to lead it, I'll mute myself.
May the peace and the blessings of the Holy Ones pour forth over the worlds. Rest upon the United Nations, on the work and the workers, protecting, purifying, energizing, and strengthening. There is a peace which passes understanding. It abides in the hearts of those who live in the eternal. There is a power that maketh all things new. It lives and moves in those who know the self as one. May the rhythm of that peace vibrate within the United Nations and in the heart of every worker. May the rhythm of that creative power resound within the United Nations and in the lives of all who serve there, awakening, transmuting, and giving birth to that which ought to be. May the chalice we are building become a focal point for the descent of a spiritual force, which filling it and overflowing to the world, draws toward itself all those whose work lies here. May the consciousness of the group become ever more at one. The many lights, one light in the light of the self. May the aspiration and the dedication of the group burn as a clear flame in the service of the holy ones. May the love and the light and the one life pour through the United Nations, cleansing it from all evil and attracting all good. So be it. Thank you.
Lots of love, many blessings, and we'll see you for tomorrow's activities. Your relationship with the new group of world servers will convert this. It will be available on Makara. Bye-bye for now.